What is up, RPG fans? Welcome to episode 46 of the Switch RPG Podcast. I am your host, Gio, also known as the Nerd Basement. How is everyone doing out there? I am still recovering from PAX. It's been a couple of weeks since our last podcast. I got sick maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 days after I got home from PAX, and I'm still kind of recovering. But I had a fantastic time, but more on that in a little bit. If this is your first time, ladies and gentlemen, this is the show for SwitchRPG.com that brings you exciting news, upcoming game releases, and everything happening in the world of RPGs on the Nintendo Switch. This week, again, we have some PAX kind of reviews, I guess, some RPG movies, and more. So yeah, just some quick housekeeping. Make sure if you enjoy this podcast, take the time, give us a rating or review on whatever you're listening on. Helps us a ton. I know we kind of hit you home at this, but please, it just takes 2 seconds. Doesn't take you very long at all. Also, 1 second actually. Also, if you would like to join in the conversation, be part of the Discord community server by visiting discord.switchrpg.com. We have a great community there. We also have a podcast channel, which very seldom gets used, honestly. It's mostly me, but you can leave your listener questions there at any point in time. But we do have a great community there, always discussing Nintendo Switch RPGs, actually any RPGs for that matter. We're a fan of all of them, as well as other things. We discuss sports. We discuss, when I say sports, it's mostly New England Patriot hating, but that's okay. But yeah, we discuss many things, like I said, sports, movie, TV, all that stuff. Lastly, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can watch our Let's Plays, game reviews, and game previews, all sorts of things. So yes, that's it for housekeeping. So yes, going to PAX. Again, that was a couple of weeks ago, so we're a little, out of date on that, but whatever. There were a few interviews I did. There, you can find them all on YouTube. I believe you can find them all on your podcast listening services as well. One of the standout games that I did there, for me anyways, was Mistover. Now, if you missed this game, be sure to check it out. I've had it on my radar for a little bit. It was much better to play it. It really was kind of a cool game. It very much reminds me of Darkest Dungeon aesthetically. It does not play like Darkest Dungeon at all. Again, aesthetically, it looks like Darkest Dungeon, but it doesn't really play. It plays more like a strategy game with permadeath. The way that they were describing it to me is there are battles, there's kind of turn-based battles, but you really, really don't want to get into them. You don't want to get into these battles because, again, like I said, it is permadeath, and these battles can wipe you out. And then if you've fallen in love with a character, it is gone forever. So yes, Mistover, and it actually won some awards, I believe, at PAX. I think want to say like best indie game or something to that effect. It did win some things. Kudos to them. They're doing a fantastic job, and I believe that game is coming out summer 2019. I'm not entirely sure, but I think that's what it is. You can check out the interview again. It's on YouTube. Also, I want to shout out to my brother-in-law who helped me with the video. Bang up job, man. He was putting these videos out like it was nobody's business. He was just like, it took him seconds where it would have taken me, I don't know, a week or whatever. But anyways, thank you to him, Mike. Couldn't have done it without him. But yes, Mistover was awesome. Now, what else did we do? Again, like I said, we did about 6 of them. I interviewed the developer Dylan from One Rat Games with Elden. I know that a lot of people in the Discord community kind of are looking forward to that game. Very interesting game. Be sure to check that out. I'm not going to say too much about it because it's still kind of in development as well. So yes, check that game out. Elden Path of the Forgotten. I don't have them in front of me, unfortunately. So yes, check that out. Now, I really, really wanted to get a little bit more information about Pillars of Eternity from the Versus Evil folks. Now, for some reason, this game seems like it's been delayed, delayed, delayed. I don't know. It just seems to get forgotten, lost. I know that the is it the publisher or the developer recently got purchased by Xbox, so I don't know if that's gotten in the mix or anything. But we had that sort of issue. But they did confirm that the game is indeed coming out, which is really what I wanted. Ultimately, I would have loved the release date, but I really wanted to know, is this game coming out? Because Pillars of Eternity, Deadfire, if you're into, say, Divinity Original Sin, if you're into those sort of strategy games, you will absolutely love Pillars of Eternity. Now, also with Pillars of Eternity, it is voice acted by the folks who do Critical Role. You don't want to miss it. They are an all-star cast, without a doubt. Again, like I said, I'm still getting over my sickness, the PAX plague. All right, so those are 3. Now, one that really kind of hit off, I was really kind of surprised about this game, Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition. Now, a lot of people, I wasn't able to schedule anything with them, but I kind of just went up to him, talked to him, asked if he wanted to do an interview. He was kind of nervous, I'll tell you that, and you can see that right off the bat from the video if you watch it. Now, Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition, a lot of people wanted to know when the time frame was coming out. I guess we kind of nailed that down to a little window anyways. It's summer 2019, possibly pushed if they come up with any issues. But yes, they do have some quality of life improvements on the game. There are also new characters added. And, it played like Baldur's Gate. It really wasn't, for me, it brought back a lot of memories playing that game. I'm not a fan of CRPGs. Now, I appreciate them for what they are. But again, just not my thing. But, yeah, it was nice seeing it there. There were actually, it was quite a crowd there. It was really nice to see. Another game I did now, I really would love for these guys to push this game to the Switch. A game called Young Souls. Now, the artwork, it looks like hand-drawn artwork. It looks really, really cool. Now, I'm not going to say it looks like Cuphead hand-drawn. It's not quite that hand-drawn. But it is interesting. I don't even know. Why I'm wearing a headset, guys. I don't even know why. Anyways, headset's coming off. Let's get crazy here. So yeah, Young Souls reminds me of River City Ransom. I know Ben, Meatball Sub, in Switch RPG. He likes that game. I don't know why. But Young Souls looks really, really cool. It looks like a better version of River City Ransom, a version that I would probably play. So be sure to check that out. Now, what they mentioned to me, I think this might have been off camera, and I'm gonna say it anyways. They did mention, and I think this goes to say with a lot of games that are, coming out on PC or Steam release first. They want to see how the game does there, and then if the game does well, they'll start porting over to consoles. But games like Young Souls, for example, would do extremely well in the Switch community. I mean, we blast you guys with this all the time. Just taking that game on the go is just kind of perfect. You can, and the suspend mode is just, for old people like me, that suspend mode is a godsend because I have 2 kids. I could be playing, if they let me play, I could be playing, and for some reason I just gotta stop the action. And, whenever I get back to it, I'll get back to it. I'm right there where it started. And it's tough to do that on the console. It is possible, I guess. In a sense, you could pause it if there's a pause allowed, I guess. But it is nothing like what the Switch does. So, those were the interviews I did. Now, we do have a listener question. I'll just kind of, because I'm discussing PAX right now, I'm just going to go out and just kind of talk about this anyways. The listener question is, let me get this here pulled up here. It is by Ransom, again, on the Discord channel. You can submit your questions on the Discord channel. You can tweet at me at the Nerd Basement or the Switch RPG channel. You can tweet at us at Switch RPG. But Ransom says, what game surprised you the most in a good way at PAX? Now, I have been to PAX a few times. I feel like this year was a little bit of a letdown. Now, for indie games, PAX is always jamming. I mean, if you really want to go to PAX and you want to play games, spend the time in the indie area, because you'll be able to get to play. You'll be able to talk to the people that made the game. They're very passionate about the game, whatever game that is, and it's a really cool interaction that you get. You don't really get that with the bigger games, although with Divinity Original Sin, that was there with the Fallen Heroes game. I was able to talk to the developers there. They were actually there. They're always there, and they're always really approachable, which is really kind of cool with them. Now, again, going back, the PAX this year just seems small. The tabletop area is encroaching. The tabletop RPG area is encroaching the gaming area. So I'm starting to see that kind of take off. I think gaining popularity, anyways. Also, what was really big this year, I felt like is VR. VR was everywhere. Oculus was there. They had dedicated area, like a big area for VR. VR isn't for me. I get really kind of motion sickness when I'm playing VR, but they definitely had a presence there. VR. Is it the future? I hope not, because as I'm watching these people play, man, they just look really silly to me. And I just can't get around the fact that you need so much room. It is so expensive to get started playing VR, whether you're playing, attached to your PlayStation, or if you have like some super PC that can handle it. It's just an expensive startup, and it's just budget wise, health wise, it's just not for me. But anyways, so tabletop is really encroaching. VR was just plastered everywhere. Now, for games that surprised me, Divinity, I absolutely love the game. It didn't really surprise me. It's essentially the same game, just with a different story in a different location, whatever. So again, it didn't really surprise me there. But Bless Unleashed was probably my biggest surprise. Now, this is an Xbox exclusive. I actually didn't get to play it, but watching people play it, it is an online MMO for Xbox. The demo there was single player only. They didn't really show the MMO part of it. But man, the animations for spellcasters, for warriors, they felt weighted. They felt heavy. They felt like they were it was really, I guess that's the only way to describe it. It felt heavy. It felt like they were really doing the spells or really doing the attack. It felt real. So, and just like I said, the animations, the lighting effects in the spells, the lighting effects in general, the lighting, it was just looked really good. Now it's in PAX, so I wasn't really able to hear much of it. I really would have loved to have heard some of that. But the lighting effects, the way the animations were, it looked phenomenal. And I've since looked at videos about it, and it looks like something I'm probably going to get into. And it's about time, because Xbox needs something. They need an exclusive to kind of push them. And they're kind of doing that. They're preparing for this late gen in their next gen, but this is something that they kind of really need. So Bless Unleashed was really my standout game. Now there were tons of games, obviously, but the Final Fantasy X and X2, which is actually coming out maybe by the time you listen to this episode, it may already be out. Well, X2 and X2 as well as 12 I was able to play. Now Final Fantasy 12, that's actually the one I was able to play. It looks really good. I don't know if it was their monitors, I don't know. But it felt good, it felt responsive. I feel like when I played the PS2 version, now I'm kind of dating myself on that game, but it felt very different. It felt like a modern game, and I think a lot of people, when they see this, it's gonna feel like a modern game. And I think 12 is probably the most approachable in terms of well, maybe not approachable in terms of combat, because the combat's actually kind of complicated when you look at it in terms of party management, because you could really get crazy with party management in 12. But visually it probably relates closest to what you're seeing now, I think, because it looked really, really cool. But I mean, as I was playing 12, I'm overlooking at the dude right next to me, and he's playing X and X2, and I'm just getting flashbacks of what that looked like, and it looked better. It really, really looked better. So I think that is going to be something people are really, really going to enjoy. The Final Fantasies of XX2 as well as 12. I was able to play Castle Crashers. I wasn't able to play a lot because I was doing a lot of roaming around and just kind of getting my feel for everything. I was only there for a couple of days, where the event is really 4 days. So yeah, I was only there for 2 days, but I had a fantastic time. Absolutely loved it. I'm looking forward to it. It was kind of a good precursor for me, because I am going to E3, and now E3 is maybe a different ball of wax, but I'm getting used to maybe what I have to do when I get there. So yeah, those are my PAX thoughts. Now, if you have any specific questions, I can certainly try to answer them. I was able to see Hellblade, which is, I'm recording this on the 10th, which is a Wednesday, and I believe that comes out tomorrow on the 11th. That game looked phenomenal, and you're already starting to see a lot more gameplay, direct feed gameplay. That game looks really, really good, and I hope it does well, because I'd love to see more games done that well, look that good on the Switch. So yeah, Mortal Kombat 11 looks phenomenal. Technically, I wasn't supposed to get any footage of any of those games, but I did get a little bit. Nothing crazy. But yeah, those are the games to really kind of look out for. Like I said, if you have any specific questions, this is being streamed on YouTube. You can type it in the chat. I'll be more than happy to answer it. But I will now move on. All right. So again, this is kind of a little bit of an older news. I haven't been able to do the podcast for reasons of being sick and PAX, and also I honestly did not even mention it. I'm kind of alone by myself. Corey unfortunately wasn't able to continue with the podcast. He will be missed, but unfortunately, like I said, he won't be able to continue. So for the future, it may just be me. I'm not entirely sure, but that's what we have going on here. Anyways, time to move on. So we had a little bit of we could call this a mini direct. If you're in the Twitter universe, you may know Wario64. Now, Wario64 put up a few pictures. I'm sure he got this from a few folks. That Persona 5 Switch is in the Best Buy employee system. Now, I believe this has been since taken down since this. So it was Persona 5 Switch as well as the Metroid Prime trilogy. Again, I think a lot of people can kind of see the writing on the wall with Persona 5. It has to be coming, right? I mean, it would only really make us kind of angry at this point if it doesn't come at this point. So again, like I said, they've pulled the information there. It's still kind of in their system, I guess. If you can kind of Best Buy employees know their system, obviously, that you can still find it in there. But also, actually, was there a link? I think there was a Link's Awakening. Hang on, I have it right here. Yes, Link to the Past, which is the best Legend of Zelda game. Don't at me for that. Yes, Link to the Past, Metroid Prime Trilogy, and the Persona 5S. So which one of those are you guys most interested in? For me, it's Persona. I have played all the others. I'm really wanting to play Persona 5. I would love to see how their Switch handles that. And yeah, so I mean, no doubt about it, Persona 5. But some people haven't played Link to the Past, which is really, it's just too bad. Or Metroid Prime Trilogy. So hopefully this is kind of true. I mean, they did pull it from their systems pretty quick, so it is a very good possibility we could be seeing those. So let's move on here. So we have some more BioWare Anthem news, as well as Fallout 76 news. We cannot go an episode without mentioning these poor games. So Fallout 76, they've got some repair kits, and I believe you can get the repair kits in the game. Let me just read. This is from Kotaku. Late last week, Bethesda announced a new item would be coming to the game soon: repair kits. Rather than waste resources repairing weapons and armor, players will be able to use these kits instead. There's a hitch. Players will only be able to buy them through the Fallout 76 microtransaction store. So, if you were in doubt that this was a pay-to-win sort of game, this indeed is a pay-to-win exploit. So now, yes, you can definitely speed up the process of your game. This is a problem. This is a major problem in games in general. Now with Fallout 76 and I think at this point they're head deep or shoulders deep in it. They don't even care at this point. They're just going all out, microtransactions, pay to win, whatever. I don't think anything they do at this point will save them from this debauchery. It's just too bad. Because this could potentially affect potential sales, future sales. So we know nothing about Starfield. We know very little about Elder Scrolls 6. I don't even want to talk about Elder Scrolls 6 because they shouldn't even have mentioned that to begin with. That's just so far out in the future. That was a little bit of fan service, I think. And it's just, don't even go there. You don't know. We don't know what game engine that's going to be on. We don't know what system what console that's going to be on. So please, I mean, seriously, what were you doing? But Starfield, I think, is more in production, certainly, than Elder Scrolls 6 is at this point. So, Starfield, what is that running on? How is it? Is it going to be MMO at all? I hope not. I hope it's a single-player experience. Bethesda, that is what you are good at. What are you doing? Stick with your single-player experience. Now, I know you're doing well with Elder Scrolls Online, but that's very different than what you're doing with Fallout 76. You tried to make an MMO with Fallout 76, but you mostly tried to make it as a single-player experience, which kind of the mix, it just doesn't make sense, and it doesn't work. Obviously, your game is broken. It's broken in the fact that there's no story, there's no narrative, there's no NPCs, there's none of that. It's It is indeed a wasteland. You can't have a wasteland with an MMO. It doesn't make sense. So again, you fudged it up. Fudged it up totally. Excuse me. Now I did mention Anthem. Now this isn't really new news, but Jason Schreier over at Kotaku has a really lengthy article regarding BioWare and how they went wrong with their game. It's a really good read. It's a really kind of lengthy read. I am not going to go over everything in here, but it goes from everything from the president of BioWare, or I don't know if he discusses EA, but it goes from the top of the production crew there to the bottom. Everyone had something to say, and it was just not good. And I think a lot of it had to do with some pressure that EA was putting on BioWare, which is not how you make a game. You got to make a game when it's ready. So, I mean, I understand what Anthem was trying to do. They're trying to make something new. And for the most part, I think it looks okay. It looks all right. But, you know, maybe it was BioWare trying to put a square peg in a round hole, where they were just trying to be a little bit too ambitious with their project. But again, check out Kotaku with Jason Schreier's article, BioWare, how BioWare's Anthem went wrong. Again, it's a kind of a lengthy read, but a good read. So please check it out. So, moving along. I kind of mentioned this in the Discord channel regarding MMOs and what MMOs people would like to see on the Switch. Now, I didn't get as good as a response to it as I thought I would, and this kind of stemmed from a conversation I had with some of my friends over at PAX. They mentioned RuneScape and how it's on mobile, and it's the classic version and it runs really well. So they're actually playing an MMO on their phones. Why wouldn't they want to play an MMO on a Switch? It makes total sense. Now, I believe there are some MMOs on the Switch, but just not here in the US. I'm a selfish person. I want games to play here in the US, and I'm sure people in Europe or people in Australia or people other than in Japan, because they have access to it. I mean, technically everyone has access to it, but I don't know how to read Japanese. I want to play something in my native language, but I want to play something good. So who wants to play an MMO? I feel like a lot of people would do it. And is there a current MMO that you would, or current, past or present, or whatever, that you would love to see on the Switch? Now, I joke about RuneScape. It looks terrible. I've played it. It is terrible. I mean, if you take off the nostalgia glasses, it is a pretty bad looking game for sure, or bad game in general. Now, my MMO experience is not that diverse. I have played Guild Wars 2. I have played MapleStory, and I have played Elder Scrolls Online. So again, not a real diverse background when it comes to MMOs, but I do have fun with them. And I think a lot of people would have a lot of fun with them. So again, this was kind of all stemming from a conversation that I had with some friends at PAX, as well as an article, again, on Kotaku about the original EverQuest. Now, I know people who have played the original EverQuest, so this is an article that states the original EverQuest has not aged well, but there have been other iterations of EverQuest that I think could probably work. So 10 years ago, this gentleman, this is Mike Fahey, wrote an article about about EverQuest Online, the online role-playing game. I was so obsessed with it, it cost me my job. and a relationship. Welcome to the MMO lifestyle. That's just me. Now I'm revisiting the game, playing on a new progression server open to celebrate its 20th anniversary, and I can safely say I am in no danger of falling under its spell again. Old school EverQuest is rough, and I will have to agree. It looks janky, it looks rough, it looks polygonal, it looks bad. And I do know I have a relative, a brother-in-law and a cousin-in-law, I guess, who played a ton of EverQuest, and it did cause problems. And I think a lot of people, even now, experience issues with MMOs because the games never end. They're ever evolving. They continue on for forever. But it can be done with a small progression system, and I think you can play it in small spurts. Something that always came to mind with me, and I would love to see something like this on the Switch. Something like MapleStory or MapleStory 2. Wow, I said that kind of weird. 2. MapleStory 2. I would love to see something like that on a Switch. And the Switch could handle that with ease. No problems at all. Me being selfish, I would love to see Guild Wars 2 or Elder Scrolls Online, because those are the ones I'm really kind of familiar with. I don't think you'll ever see World of Warcraft on a Nintendo Switch. That's pie in the sky stuff. We're never going to see that. Excuse me. So, if anyone's listening to this, please, what MMO would interest you the most? For me, MapleStory, Elder Scrolls Online. Why couldn't that happen? I think it would play. It's a little degraded. It's a degraded version of Skyrim, essentially. Obviously it's bigger than Skyrim, but in terms of quality, it's right there. It's right there. And Elder Scrolls Online is actually pretty fun. It really is. If you can get a group of friends with any MMO, if you can get a group of friends playing it, it's really cool. All right. Next story we have. Oh, this is really interesting. We have Octopath Traveler rated for the PC in Korea. The Game Rating and Administration Committee of Korea has rated Octopath Traveler for PC. The PC version is listed as published by Bandai Namco, which regularly publishes Square Enix titles in Korea. The RPG first launched in the Switch worldwide in July 2018. A smartphone prequel called Octopath Traveler: Champions of the Continent is currently in development, and it goes on with an overview of the Champions of Continent. This is an article on Gematsu by Sal Romano. So Sal Romano. So yeah, we have what I thought was going to be kind of, it technically is console exclusive. It's only been on the Nintendo Switch, but this is kind of multi-platform. So we have a multi-platform game that I thought was only going to be a single platform game going to mobile, which Nintendo has already said they really want to get into that universe. So maybe they're kind of whatever about this, but it's also going to PC. Now I'm wondering if this is going to be a straight up. Now it does say PC port. I wonder if it's just going to be straight up PC port, no additions, just kind of here you go, the same game. I hope that's the case, because if Nintendo fans are left in the dark and don't have anything, they'll probably rebel. They'll complain for sure. Now, my thoughts about the game, they're whatever. I'm not a big fan of Octopath Traveler, but this is kind of a kick in the shins here, I think. Again, like I said, my thoughts that this would be just kind of a Nintendo exclusive. So this is already getting put out places. So this is just Korea at this point, so we'll see how far that goes, but more likely than not, it'll come here. It'll be everywhere. So, I mean, it is good for them, no doubt about it. This is great for them. And then I hope it only means that, we'll see more titles like this from them. But I also hope it doesn't mean that they were kind of discouraged with the sales, or they just want more sales. Because if they were discouraged with the sales, that means it's a possibility we could see less of these titles, which I hope is not the case. So, yeah, Octopath moving to the PC universe. All right, moving along here, we have some Moonlighter news. Actually, I think this broke today on the 10th. So there are a lot of people playing Moonlighter. In fact, they've announced they've sold 500,000 copies of Moonlighter. Let me just see where this is. I thought it was in this article. Ah, yes. Digital Sun Games and 11-Bit Studios have announced a new DLC for Moonlighter. The Between Dimensions DLC will be released sometime in the summer of 2019 for PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch. The announcement of the DLC comes with news that the game has sold over 500,000 copies since its launch. I would love to know what the differences, what the differentiation there between consoles were. I'd love to hope that it was more on the Nintendo Switch, but I don't know. But it is really cool. This, I believe, was a Kickstarter game, and I hope they're not stuck in the Kickstarter trap that a lot of games do. So they come out with their game, and then what happens is they made all these promises for stretch goals and whatnot. So it kind of holds them up, making the DLC, making, this version, that version, making this artwork, this, making all this extra stuff where they could be working on their next game. So again, I'm not sure because I didn't really follow this game in its Kickstarter form. So I don't know if this is one of the stretch goals or if they see that the game is doing really well. They just kind of want to create the DLC, which is fantastic. I've heard nothing but great things about Moonlighter, so kudos to them. Very happy for them with the news that they've sold so many copies. And this Between Dimensions sounds really interesting. So Between Dimensions will add new monsters that appear in the game's current dungeons, while a new interdimensional dungeon will challenge players with numerous powerful mini-bosses. So it does really kind of sound cool. Now, it doesn't mention if, I'm trying to see. It doesn't mention if it's paid DLC or if it's free DLC. That is not in this article here. And this article is on RP Gamer by Alex Fuller. So, yeah, I'm not sure if it's paid DLC, but the game is currently on sale. And from what I've heard, it's a really fantastic game. So do check out Moonlighter. It may be something that you will like. Now, yes, I've talked about that. All right. So yeah, we've had a couple of movie trailers. Now, these movie trailers are in Japanese, I believe, but really interesting nonetheless. I'm picking these articles from Jamatsu. The two movies are Dragon Quest: Your Story and Ni no Kuni. I don't think it has a title yet. And these are both Sal Romano. This guy is taking over my show here. So the Dragon Quest it's based on Dragon Quest V. So if you're big into the Dragon Quest universe, 5 is I think it's the most revered title of them all. I have never played 5, but again, this is kind of what I hear. And this is set to be out with this Dragon Quest trailer, which you can watch on YouTube. This is set to hit Japanese theaters August 2nd. Now, I hope there's a subtitled version, or I don't necessarily need a dub version because I'm very used to watching international movies. It really doesn't bother me to hear the native language. In fact, I prefer the native language with English subtitles. So I hope there is a subtitle version of this that will eventually come out because it's a CG type of movie, and from what I've seen in the trailer, it looks really, really interesting. Now, the Ni no Kuni trailer is a little more animation over what Dragon Quest is. Dragon Quest, it looks like a CG, kind of like your Toy Story-esque, where the Ni no Kuni is more of an anime, kind of like a cartoon, I guess. But again, also coming out in theaters in Japan. But again, same type of deal. I really hope it's subtitled, because I want to get into this. And let me it is a Warner Brothers with Ni no Kuni. Warner Brothers has released the debut trailer for Ni no Kuni anime movie, which will premiere this summer in Japan. So they're actually getting a couple of these great movies. So yeah, take a look at, I think, yeah, this is on Gematsu. Sal Romano, just, I guess, look up all of his articles. I've covered them all in the past week or two. So yeah, Ni no Kuni. What else do we have here? All right, that's actually going to do it for news. Not too bad, not too bad. I cut quite a bit of the news segment, but that's okay. All right, so what have I been playing? I've been playing, if you go to the YouTube channel, the Switch RPG YouTube channel, I've been playing all sorts of stuff. Still into Hard West. I'm still into Evoland 2. I'm mostly done with them. Still putting out recordings of those. Now, I am also playing. Oh, geez, what else? What else am I playing? I was able to get a review copy of SteamWorld Quest. I will tell you, unfortunately, I am not allowed to put any video content of it yet, because a lot of people have broken the rules. And you know, I've been going back and forth with the developer. You know, I've been asking him what is allowed, what am I allowed to play? And he's like, you know what? If you can just hold off, not put anything, because we're really kind of losing our steam that we wanted, because this game comes out, I think, in a couple of weeks. So he asked me not to put anything up, which is totally fine. I'm totally cool with. But this game is really, really cool. I am absolutely loving this game. It's a turn-based deck building game, if you could think about it. But if you're in this, if you've seen the SteamWorld universe, you know the characters, what they will look like, and I think you can see some trailers. It's a really interesting game. I like the characters, so I've been playing a little bit of that. Now, like I said, Hard West, Evoland 2, SteamWorld Quest. I really need to finish up Cosmic Star Heroine. I've been sleeping on that for a while. But I've also been playing my time at Portia. Now, there's been a lot of issues with my time at Portia. I've had to do some stuff off screen. It takes forever. Not necessarily the loading times. Yes, the loading times do eat up quite a bit of time, but just the way the game is. So if I want to right now I'm making part of a bridge to get off of what I'll call Noob Island. I'm making a bridge. Just making those components take a while. And in my opinion, to watch something like that can be extremely boring. So I've done a few things like that off screen, and just hopefully in the next episode I can kind of hit you with some better stuff. But yeah, those are the games I've been playing pretty much. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. So, what have you guys been playing? Anything good? Anything new? Because we do have quite a bit coming up. This week we have Vaporum coming up. If you need to see a little snippet of that, we do have something on that on the YouTube channel. I believe it's like a half-hour clip. Vaporum. They were actually at PAX East. I talked to them a little bit. And Shadowgate also comes out tomorrow. Now, this is listed in the Switchlist.app website, which is what I'm using. Labels it as an RPG. This is a RPG light. I initially played this game on the NES. Then I played it on the PC. This is essentially a PC port that we'll be getting on the Switch. Now with Shadowgate, it is a kind of point and click. I guess you could call it RPG light, but it's more of a point and click puzzle kind of game. I liked it. I liked the music, and I think with the port here, you'll be able to go from the classic NES style over to the new style, which is kind of interesting. I believe you can. Anyway, I hope I'm not speaking incorrectly here, but I think you can do that, or it might just, I know you can do at least the music. I'm just not sure about. I'm pretty sure that graphically you can change that too. But anyways, Shadowgate comes out. Also, Reigns Game of Thrones. Now, we got Game of Thrones coming out this week. It's the final season debuts. So we do have Reigns Game of Thrones coming out. The Demon Crystal as well. Now these are all coming out on the 11th. That's quite a bit. And then we got A Dark Room on the 12th, which is a couple days from here. The big hitter. Oh, the big hitters is My Time at Portia. That's the 16th. So in about a week's time. And then the biggest hitter is Final Fantasy X and X2. I think this is going to do really, really well. And I hope it does really well. Because it looks really good. So that's it for sales for the week upcoming. Even next week I'm looking, and that's even nuts. That's even like crazier because there's like 3 games I want there. Oh boy, backlog. It's ridiculous. Anyways, so yes, ladies and gentlemen, we want to hear from you. Listener questions. Now I did answer one of them about what surprised me the most in a good way. That was Bless Unleashed, the Xbox exclusive. I don't know who's developing that. It does look like a Bandai game, but I have no idea who it is off the top of my head. Now, we do have a question from Mr. DJ Atkins. Again, this is on the Discord server, so if you ever want to ask a question, reach out on the Discord server. It's discord.switchrpg.com, or you can hit me on Twitter at the Nerd Basement, or you can email our Twitter at switchrpg. Either way, anyway, feel free to do it. So DJ Atkins asks, what do you think about the new Legend of Zelda leak/rumors? And what Stealth had to say about the chances. Now, I'd have to go back into the Twitterverse and find a tweet that Stealth had, which is near impossible because that dude just doesn't stop tweeting. There's no way I'd be able to find that. And finding a tweet that someone had 2 weeks from now or 2 weeks ago, that's not happening. You can't search for tweets. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to tie this question to a tweet about Stealth, but apparently he said he said something about the chances, which I don't know what it is. I've already discussed the Legend of Zelda rumors as well. I think having a Link to the Past would be really, really cool. I don't know if it's a straight up port like what we have on the SNES Classic. I will not say SNES because that sounds disgusting. So the SNES Classic, I don't know if it'll be something straight up there. I mean, why would Best Buy even have that? You know, would they release that as a physical version? It just doesn't make any sense. That's such a small game. I mean, it is a huge game, don't get me wrong, but to have a physical version of that on a cart, it doesn't make any sense to me. So is it a remake? Is it a remake like Link's Awakening? I don't know. That would be awesome. I would accept that. I would accept a Link's Awakening slash Link to the Past kind of remake in the same cart. Are you kidding me? Who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want that? I think anybody in their right mind would want that. So yeah, that's kind of what my thoughts are on Zelda. I don't see I don't see A Link to the Past being a physical version. It just wouldn't make sense to me. But I hope it's there. I hope that we see something. So unfortunately, I don't have a side quest today. I don't have an off-topic side quest. But be sure, if you guys have any ideas, be sure to let me know. So yes, that's going to wrap up episode 46 of the Switch RPG podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you everyone who sent in their questions and comments. Keep them coming. Posting in our podcast thread. I mentioned that so many times, and via Twitter. Remember, you can listen to the show each and every Thursday or Friday at switchrpg.com, or you can subscribe on your favorite podcasting app. If you're listening on an app, please give us a rating and review. Your support would be amazing. And also, don't forget, if you would like to watch us record live, subscribe to the YouTube channel, where we record the podcast live Wednesdays at eventually. Okay, we're not going to give you a specific time, unfortunately, but most of the time we try to go for 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And if you like what you hear, remember you could head over to the patreon.com/switchrpg. Throw us $1 or $2 if you can. If not, no worries. You being part of the community here at Switch RPG means the world to us. And finally, remember, you can head over to Switch RPG for all your Nintendo Switch RPG needs. Until next time. Yeah, until next time. I got nothing snazzy to say there. This is all new to me. So yeah, thank you for joining. Goodbye.